Hello, hello everyone, welcome. I'm your special guest today, Linda's daughter, Alex. Good to be here. I spent the 4th at the lake yesterday at Shawnee Mission Lake, and I have a wicked weird sunburn where like half of my arm on the front is red and then the back is red, so I have this weird strip. I happen to be wearing a sleeveless shirt today, so I will just turn this way a lot so you guys don't see my sunburn. But welcome, good to be here.
Well, while you were in the sun, I was in the sewing room working on your pants.
Yeah, well, Linda Lee, the artist, the multi-dimensional artist, she paints, she sews, she stitches, she gardens.
Oh, hardly. I pick weeds is what I do.
Like we did last time, if you guys remember and were watching, we did a vote which shirt you guys liked better, so you can do the same today if you like. Ooh. Which outfit you like better, mine or Linda's?
I'm pretty much all over yours.
I know, mine's pretty cool.
I know.
We also learned that I love these pants.
You wear them every time you come to Topeka.
Yes, basically every Facebook Live or every time I'm here. This is like my go-to pant. They do go with everything. So if you need like a white floral pant, just make them and they'll go with whatever you have. So. And
then you bought floral sandals at Target.
Yeah, so today is going to be a good day because Linda Lee likes my shoes. So, so yeah, I have. I mean, that's a big deal. If she comments on your shoes, like that's a very good day.
Yeah, I'm into shoes. Well, you do remember. You don't remember. You weren't born yet, but I started working in a shoe store when I was 14 years old, and
here in downtown Topeka. Right?
In downtown Topeka, Robinson Shoe Store, and of course I got a discount on shoes, so that became my obsession. And I remember when I went to college, I drove most of my things to Kansas State in my car, and then I came back for my shoes.
Wow, yeah, it sounds similar.
So it's a problem, but I do love shoes. But I think those are really cute.
Yeah.
So you have flowers, 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 and I think, I mean, you had all kinds of options of what to wear with this today. Mm-hmm. Solid pink, lime green, white, whatever, but I don't know. You put those on, and I thought that was really, really fantastic.
Yep, it's true. It's true.
Yep.
We'll talk about all this in a minute, what we're wearing. But first things first, we launched a new pattern this month, and we're here to talk about it. So this is the Willow Blouse. Linda's wearing a white shirt. This is our take on a white shirt with a twist. So this is the Willow Blouse. It comes in short sleeve and also long sleeve. It has this front drape. It has a collar. It has asymmetrical hemline, a shirt tail hem, and then on one side it has this vent. Just on one side. And it's a set-in sleeve, and in this pattern, it's a digital pattern. It's not on sale today since we just released it, but we sell it for $18. And we also launched the online workshop. So if you want to learn to make this garment for $49.99, you can purchase the digital workshop where Linda Lee will actually walk you through the key steps in making this garment. And so for $49.99 you can purchase this course, and it comes with a really integrative, amazing, professional video. And like I said, Linda walks you through all the steps, and it's like you're in a class online, and you can do it from the leisure of your own home, in your pajamas, in your floral pants, whatever you want to do.
Right.
And we also sell this as a kit. So you can purchase this fabric. This is an Egyptian sateen, and it has like a slight sheen to it. It doesn't come off shiny, but if you look closely, it has a little bit of like a shimmer. So we're selling this kit. We only have one colorway, and this is for sale for $83. It comes with the full yardage for long sleeve or short sleeve, so you can do either one. And you can make this shirt. So you can get the pattern, you can get the workshop, and you can get the kit.
And the kit comes with a couple of buttons and the thread as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything you need to make it.
Mm-hmm. And Linda has made this also in a linen, and a couple other fabrics. But you can't go wrong with a classic white shirt.
Yeah.
So we toyed with a lot of different options for fabric for this shirt. Erin's nodding her head yes, because we kind of went through a lot of options. And we were going to do a lot of different colorways, a lot of different types of fabrics, but we landed on just a singular kit, making it simple, because really, like, if you have a classic white shirt in your closet that you love forever, you can't really beat that. So
Right.
this is the Willow Blouse. Again, you can get the pattern, kit, and workshop. So the workshops are just great as far as, again, just wanting to make a garment every month. That's something we're doing with our So Confident program. So for July, you can make this garment, and we have a whole online community. There's a Zoom Q&A that we do. So it's a lot of fun.
And a Facebook sew along. People can post anything on their the sew alongs.
Yes, our So Confident membership is a lot of fun. You can be a yearly member, and you can be a monthly member. Those subscriptions are closed. So right now what you can do is just pay by the month, pay for a course, pay for a workshop, and it's fun to join in any month. So for the month of July, you get to learn this, and then you also get to be a part of the live Zoom Q&A, and we're available for any of your questions and all of that. So,
Yep. All right. Okay. Well, let's show something that one of our good customers and friends made from the June workshop.
yes, hi Rhonda. I love this. I hear that you made this on a little sewing retreat in Arkansas. Is that what you guys
Actually, she'd already had this made,
Okay.
I believe. But what's interesting about it is that Rhonda started with a border print, and this is a knit, all knit. So you can see that this is part of the border, this is another part of the border, and I love the way she placed the border. This is a rib, not a traditional rib knit like a cuff rib, but a knit that has a rib texture. Mm-hmm. And then of course the stripes, when you cut it with the grain as we have it identified, it's on the diagonal, which I love, and then the sleeves. I think this is so cute. I might steal it. It may not get sent back to Rhonda. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. But we'll see. Anyway, had to show it because it's too cool.
So
We're going to
this
get a
is
good
the-
picture of this at some point on somebody, and you'll see it online, I'm sure.
So this is the Edgewater dress, and it also comes in a skirt on the digital pattern. So this is also an online course, so you can learn to make this skirt actually in the class. Well, you talk about it all.
Well, the skirt is May, and the dress is June.
Yeah,
2 separate classes.
right.
And amazingly enough, you do learn different things because of the dress. You learn the binding and setting in a sleeve. On the skirt, obviously, you learn how to put on a waistband. So there are different techniques between the 2 classes. But, okay, thanks, Rhonda. Appreciate the loan. All right. So, what do you have on?
I have on the Gardenia Blouse. This is also an online workshop and a digital and printed pattern.
Right.
But this is a pattern we developed last year, I guess about a year ago, last summer. And it's a fun pattern. It was fun to make.
This is the normal length.
Yeah, this is about waist length, and I tried this on, and I just decided I wanted it more of a tunic length. I wanted it longer. So I kind of just put my hands down, and we measured about 6 inches down. So my top is lengthened 6 inches. And it has these kind of front tucks up here at the top, and then 3 tucks here on the side with these ties. So I learned about that. Am I talking about this right now? Are we going
Let's
into
go
the
through
details?
what we have on, and then we can come
Okay.
back to that, I think.
Okay. So yeah, this is what I have
So
on.
you're
I have
wearing
it
this
in a-
with the Valencia pants, and that's our pants pattern that does not have a side seam. Super easy to make. Flat waistband in the front, elastic in the back. Great summer pant, and it works in a fabric that's a little bit crisp, and it works in a flowy fabric as well. So, all right. Well, I have on the ET, and I did a little contrast binding at the neck, and then I have on the 6th Sense skirt. I have a hard time saying that. But it's a wrap skirt that's made out of basically 2 rectangles, so there's a seam in the back, wherever that seam is. I see I don't have the skirt on squared. Here we go. All right, and it comes around, crosses over, and that's all held together with this pocket on the side. Now, I did a separate band down the front, so it's a little bit different fabric, but that was a little pattern hack kind of thing. And then let's talk, first of all, the gardenia also comes as a dress. We should back up a minute.
Yep.
And it comes with 2 sleeve options, the sleeveless like Alex has on, or a little more of a dropped sleeve, I guess, with a band. This is actually taken from our Eureka top pattern that was kind of placed on this dress. So obviously you can make this in any length and either sleeve detail that you like.
And these are both linen fabrics, but
Yeah.
it's fun in all types of fabrics.
All right, so then we have another loan right here.
Yeah, this is the Zen
bring it over here.
Shirt.
So this pattern right here starts out as this shirt. This is the length. Has a double collar, one collar a little bit higher than the other, a hidden placket, pleat, inverted pleat in the back, and simple sleeves. So this came from Samantha, who used this fabulous linen Japanese fabric. So tell us what she's done here.
Well, here she's obviously made this into a dress. So she lengthened this, I believe, 18 inches. So it's a full length dress. And I love what she's done with using the selvage details. So you see in the collar, if you pull this up, you're going to see the selvage writing, which comes on typically any fabric. Here she's also added a cuff, quite a significant cuff to these sleeves.
I think the sleeve was shortened originally like 7 inches, and then she added a separate cuff and used the selvage, and then added this nice ribbon detail on the inside, which hides the connection, which I think is really beautiful. And this collar, I think, was cut taller by another ½ an inch or so, something like that.
And this waistband too, she's also used the selvage. So you can see this gathered waistband effect.
So this is a casing, separate casing that's on the outside of the garment, not on the inside. And then the same grosgrain ribbon is used as the tie, and it's the same ribbon that's used on the inside of the sleeve. I think this is just fresh and wonderful.
And she has some fun buttons in here. So we have green buttons as well as pink buttons. So she's mixed buttons, which I think is fun.
Yes, pink and green, yeah, really great. So thank you, Samantha, for this. It's a great way, you just, of course, Samantha's really into dresses. You are too. And I'm becoming a little more tuned into dresses.
Are you?
I think I own one. No, I love the Edgewater, and I realize how comfortable it really is. But at any rate, you can take any blouse, gardenia, Zen, and lengthen it. Simple lengthening. We have lengthen and shorten lines on the pattern. Sometimes you can lengthen them at the bottom if something is very straight. But this pattern for sure has a lengthen and shorten line, which you used, because I think you want to keep the original circumference at the bottom. And so as you lengthen it, it becomes a little bit offset, and you want to connect those lines from under the arm to the bottom of the hem and not worry too much about whether those lines exactly line up. So that's something you have to pay attention to. That's why there are lengthen and shorten lines where they are. It's worked out in the pattern work. So, okay, so thank you, Samantha, for that.
Can I see a few details on that?
Sure.
Take it away.
So here's the collar. And then here's the cuff.
And then I'm gonna get a shot of the waistband, which is the casing ribbon detail. Okay, and turn around to the front so they can see the ribbon.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you sat and sewed this, and I made something else. We were team sewing on Saturday. So you did some things you've never done before.
I did. Yeah, let's grab the the blouse.
All right.
Just so you can see the original. But like I said, I lengthened this. So like Linda mentioned, you can, using the lengthen, shorten line, kind of choose how much you want to maybe lengthen something. It doesn't have to be a full dress, but this does come in a dress. But even just tunic length or lengthening something to your liking. Because this was pretty short on me.
Right, and let's back up a minute, because we show the blouse with this armscye. We show the dress in the pattern with the other sleeve. So you started with the blouse to lengthen rather than shortening the dress, because you liked this sleeve detail. But you could go either way. Okay.
Yes. Yep, true. So the first thing you do in the pattern is you make these ties. So I used a bodkin, and I used this Nani Iro fabric, which is what we're going to talk about here in a minute. And it's quite a sticky fabric, but you fold the band lengthwise, right sides together. I was following the instructions as you should. And for whatever reason, one of my ties, when I used the bodkin, I pulled it you have to kind of wiggle your way, wiggle the fabric through this bodkin and pull it through. One of my ties just didn't quite come out correctly, and I have no idea why. I really don't know.
I've looked at it, and I have no idea how you do it.
It's like half of it is on the right side, and half of it, the wrong side of the fabric is showing.
Which is impossible.
Because I pressed it right sides together. And then you, using the bodkin, once it's pressed and once you sew from the fold, you stitch the fabric to this bodkin and then wrap it around, and then that's what you pull through.
We've demonstrated that a couple of times on Facebook Lives, so people can kind of refer back to that.
Yeah. And I have no idea. One is perfect, one of my ties is perfect, and the other tie is not as perfect.
And that's one of those situations where you have to evaluate whether it's worth it to do it over or cut another one. And I remember saying, well, it's up to you. And you just moved on. Yeah. And I sort of like that. The perfection thing just did not get in your way.
Well, those are some of those elements that you'll get in making your own clothes that you can just keep, and they're like little stories, and I don't know. I mean, who would even notice, unless you're a home sewer, and unless you're someone like probably you guys watching that notice every detail of garments.
Right.
But for whatever reason, I didn't. So my first lesson was the ties and using this bodkin.
Yeah. There are other tools to use, but this is really our favorite tool, and I think it's like $4 or $5. Everybody should have one of these. I had one of these when I was in high school, and I had it for all these 55 years later, and I realized I often wondered what it was, and it took me that long to figure out that it's one of the most useful tools that we have. So, okay.
I guess my first lesson even before that was thinking that the pattern was going to be really simple to cut out, and it is. It's a front and a back with the bindings, neck bindings, arm bindings, and ties, but there are about 20 tailor's tacks to mark. So I mastered the art of the tailor tack. So I got some silk thread and a hand sewing needle. I didn't mark it with a pen because I was cutting out on the right side. So it took quite a while to cut out, only because of all the tailor tacks, because you're marking each of these pleats. The one up here and then these down here. So there's 4 for every pleat, and there are about 6 pleats.
Well, since these pleats are on the outside of the garment, you want to see the markings. So I think when you see the right side of a tailor tack, it's easier to deal with than the wrong side, where you have to look for that little prick of a stitch, and you don't want any sort of marker on the right side of your fabric. And you use silk thread, so you can sew through it and you can get the thread out. So. Good job on that.
I learned tailor tacks, I learned about the ties, and then I think the biggest lesson in this garment are the bindings, so specifically the neck binding. Linda has a sample here, but you cut this out, and then you can press this curve with the iron to kind of form the curve before you put it on the garment.
Well, and it's important to remember that the fold is on the outer edge. And so you're forming this in a curve, you're steaming it, and it takes out some of the fullness of this part, so that this will, when it's turned into the inside of the neckline, it's lying flat. That's the purpose of it. So you're not going to have a roughly or too tight of a binding. So you want to steam it and then press it with your hands and let it cool before you move it, both on the neck and the armscye. So this is a really important step that I'm not sure you had ever done before.
Yeah, it's kind of like magic, because this isn't what it looks like when you form the curve. It really is
It's very bubbly
yeah,
on the inside.
and you steam it and the bubbles erase. So
Exactly.
yeah, so you do this and then you stitch this to the garment, and once you do that, once that's stitched, this end is what you then stitch together. It was a 1/4 inch seam, so then it's a complete.
Right, but that 1/4 inch can vary with the fabric. Like this fabric it's a double gauze, and so it's very, it melds and molds and probably shrinks as well. So this 1/4 inch seam is all you had. There might be other fabrics that the seam might end up being 5/8. That's why you put it on first before you sew the two ends together, so that you can calculate what kind of seam allowance you need. That's pretty traditional for most bindings. It's very difficult as a pattern maker to determine the exact length of a binding. So you do that for the neck and the armscye as well. I think both of them ended up having 1/4 inch seams on both the neck and the armscye. So then what else did you do after you sewed it on?
So once you sew it on, you then fold it down, you hand press this, and I ended up pinning this all the way around so it's turned under. And from there, the quick satisfaction person that I am, I didn't want to hand baste anything, because why? Why would I want to do that? But I did. So I hand basted the neckline and to hold that in place before I stitched it. So then I top stitched once I hand basted.
Well, I think there are really two reasons to hand baste something like this and take the time to do it. First of all, it allows you to be more perfect with your top stitching without having to worry about the binding slipping and moving on you. But also, if you stitch base along the outer folded edge, then that's your barrier not to cross. So you know when you're top stitching, you have to stay on one side of that basting, and you're going to catch the basting. Catch the binding, because otherwise you could miss the binding and be kind of off and on it. So there really are two reasons, and it's just worth it. And then it's easy to steam it. It's easy to get the stitch. Why do I keep saying binding when I mean stitching and basting and whatever? But at any rate, it saves you time in the long run. I know you didn't want to do it, but.
Well, I really had to practice the skill, because then you do the exact same thing from the neck on both armscye. So I really mastered that. So I hand basted the arms as well, and then stitched it and top stitched it in the same way. So it really was the same technique. So that is something you get good at with this garment.
Now you could use something like pre-made, pre-cut single bias binding from a package. That works too. I would still shape that in the same way. But we have this because it's a French binding, so it's folded, so you have a folded edge here, and so it's not a raw edge or an edge that you have to turn under. It's already folded and ready to go. Well, the other thing you did when you were sewing the binding on is that you put the left-hand side of the presser foot on the outer fold, and then you moved your needle position to the right a 1/2 inch, so that your eye is following the left side of the presser foot, and the needle just does its thing. So you get a real even finished binding. You don't really care so much about the width of the seam allowance. It's more about the finished width of the binding, and that's an easy way to do that. So you learned all kinds of things. So then the hem is simple. This is a double fold hem. On most fabrics, we will stay stitch 3/8 of an inch or a 1/2 inch from the edge, press the hem against that stitching, and then fold it again and stitch it, but you don't press the second fold.
And I didn't do this.
Well, I think this is a pretty stable fabric, and so that's probably not as important. Plus, it's pretty straight. There's a little bit of curve to it, but it's when the fabrics can get away from you, or particularly on shirt tail hems where you have curves, it's really important to do that. So you got it done, and you put it on, and
this is a size medium. So I put it on and just noticed the armscye were a bit tight in my underarm.
And that's something we never measure. We just forget. We just assume armscye are big enough or small enough or whatever.
I think I tried this on and this was a small, or is a small, or I tried one that was a small. Obviously noticing the shoulders were tight in general. So I just think I thought a medium would be much bigger. They're not uncomfortable. You probably can't notice, you know, it's more just something you notice when you put on. So.
Right. So, but you did something to your pattern that now you won't have to think about it again.
True.
So the black line is the original pattern, and using a French curve, this is still in the package. We sell these wonderful clear plastic tools. Lowered this about 1/2 inch and used this French curve to redraw that curve, connecting it to the original cutting line. But what you have to do now is the binding is calculated to fit the original distance. And this changes this. So using this curve runner, you measure the finished, you got it? All right. Measure the finished seam allowance of the front and the back because they're different curves. And you compare that to the original distance of the black line, and this ended up being 1 1/8 inches longer. So that's a lot. You wouldn't have had enough arms binding had you just cut the original length.
So we adjusted these pattern pieces, the front and the back, and the binding.
Right. So you're ready to go the next time you make it. So.
And I think I will. I really like how this turned out, especially lengthening it. So.
Yeah,
it was fun.
I think it's fantastic. All right. Well, we're going to show some special fabrics today. And they are from Japan. And they're part of a collection by Nani Iro. So do you know some things about her?
So Nani Iro is the Japanese designer of the brand Nani Iro. And Linda and I were commenting, and I was thinking, I was like, I wonder how often her name gets switched with the brand. Nani Iro and Nani Iro. So Nani is the Hawaiian word that means beautiful. Iro is a Japanese word that means colorful. So she started this brand in 2001. And she's an artist, so she does watercolor. So her whole kind of thing and mantra is turning her watercolors into fabric. And so she has a studio in Osaka in Japan, and also a flagship store, so you can go, and that's where all of her collections are, all of her fabrics are. So you can go there and see if any of you happen to be in Japan. But that's where she started. So
her fabrics they're designed to be comfortable, beautiful, with a nature sort of flavor to them. Her studio overlooks a nature scene, all of that. But you can tell that there's a painterly aspect to them. This is her latest book, A Year of Sewing with Nani Iro, and this is out today. And I've actually ordered it. This is a concept we're kind of looking at, actually, this idea of a book or booklet of patterns. I don't know whether we'll get there or not, but we're thinking about it. But anyway, she has several books that include patterns, and her patterns are pretty simple. Her garments are pretty simple, but the fabric is what it's all about for her.
And she talks about how the process of color in her fabrics is something she's really passionate about. So she'll go to the factory where the fabrics are printed and go work with the dyers to make sure like the colors come out in the right way that she wants them to. Not a lot of her fabrics have a lot of colors in them. They're not overly saturated, so getting the right color is really important to her.
And some of her fabrics have really small, fine details, which apparently is more difficult to print these days than in the old days, whatever that means. So she works with the printers closely. So she's an interesting person. I figured out she's about in her early 50s. For some reason, I always had like you say, Nani Iro was her name, and I just didn't really get it that that was her brand and not her name. So now I've sorted that out. So all of these fabrics that we have on the wall are designed by her. She produces them for a brand called Koka, and we import them from Japan. And so let's show them.
Yeah.
So the one you have on is right here.
Yeah, this is a, what is this?
This is
a cotton gauze.
Yeah.
So this was really easy to work with. It, like we mentioned, it is a little bit sticky, but it's lovely, it's soft, and all these fabrics are quite different in their variations, but I love the kind of floral, again, watercolor-esque prints to this.
Yeah, they look hand-painted. It's interesting that there's just this sprinkling. That wouldn't be that easy to pull off as a textile designer. It could look too just sort of plunked down, but she knows how to arrange these flowers in a really beautiful arrangement. And I don't know, it's soft, isn't it? Soft to wear. Yeah, it's quite soft. Now, fabrics like this that are double gauze, or it's not a double gauze really. Well, actually, this is a double gauze. They can be a little sticky, I call them. They don't have a super lot of drape to them. So you want to make something like this, where it has a little bit of structure to it, a Gardenia blouse or a Zen blouse or something like that. You don't want to make something that has to have a lot of hang to it, because it's not going to happen. Yeah.
This makes me think of, as you guys know, Linda is a watercolor artist, so Linda should get
I'm a
her
watercolor person, not artist.
No.
It's all right, go ahead.
No. But you should get your watercolors printed on fabric. We would all get the Linda Lee collection.
That's funny.
I would buy it.
You might be the only person. All right, so then this one, these are all cotton, I believe, this row. So this one is all cotton. And this is as close to this pattern as we had. We no longer have this particular fabric of Samantha's dress, but this reminds me of it, this one and this one. In fact, I think this is actually the same design, different colorway, but this one is very, very similar. But this pale celery colored background with white and then these little dots of blue that are just, I don't know, really, really incredible.
I love our wall today. It's very romantic.
Well, it reminds me, it's very Japanese because it reminds me of kimono fabrics that are narrow and hung like this when you go into the stores. Not that I've been to Japan, but I've heard that's what they look like. Yeah. This one is so subtle that I think Erin will have to come up at some point and show you this. And I'm really crazy about it, but it is it's white with a slight grayish cast to it. But there are aqua metallic dots on it in a random pattern, like raindrops. And this does have a strié weave to the ground fabric. It's the same one as it's the same one as this one. That's right. Yeah. So this is a creamier version with bronze gold metallic. So if you can picture this printed like this, only the colors are a very soft aqua color. And then this is the same thing, only this time the dots are a relief. They're not printed, they're just not printed. So it's a different concept with the same strié background, and this time the aqua is the background and then the white are the dots. But just fantastic blouses. Summer, you know, we're into the heat here in Kansas, and I'm thinking cool and comfy and soft. Yes.
And these kind of are your skirt.
Yeah, so this reminds me of the skirt. It's not the same fabric. This is a Japanese fabric from last year. But these remind me of them. Both of these are linen, but very lightweight and very soft linen. So this is not a crisp linen. It feels really like cotton, but it is linen. So we have the same, it's a two-tone blue. There's a navy blue and then more of a royal blue. So there's two tones of blue and a couple of tones overprinted of the greens.
This brown one here it's really, really soft. This is a cotton silk.
Yeah, this is the only one that has silk in it. This is beautiful. The hand of this is incredible.
So similar to the other floral one, but this kind of has more fine line details within the blues and within the flowers. But
What I think is interesting is the writing on this selvage is way in. And so this would be fun to incorporate like Samantha did, either just incorporating it into a whole piece or separating it out and using it for something.
yeah, a lot of the selvages are different. So this is probably Japanese. This is just regular prints. We've got another one with writing over here.
Yeah.
And then a typeface. So all the selvages are.
Yeah, they are very different. Yeah. So this one is cotton gauze. So it's basically the same as this, I would say. But this, you don't see colorways like this very often, but the subtlety of it is amazing. And when you look at this up close, this overprint of white is slightly metallic or shimmery, iridescent, that's a better word. So that's got a lot more detail to it in person than you see on the screen, I'm sure.
And these just get softer with washing. I pre-wash this before cutting it out. So, and I think just the difference between feeling this and feeling what I have on is so different. So,
Yeah. And then these are the same print. Let's move the babe here. Well, I think they're the same print, yes. But one is lyocell, which is rayon. It feels like cotton batiste. But it's rayon, and it's printed in white with a little bit of a camel gold line through it. So it's the subtleties of these designs that you really have to appreciate when you see them. And then this one's, is this linen and cotton or
linen.
linen?
Yep.
All right. Same print, this time on a natural ground with the darker tones and then a little bit of aqua. So you can tell that this is all one collection. These are slightly outliers in terms of color, but there's definitely a seasonal collection that she's put together here. So, Zen shirts, dresses, Gardenia shirts, dresses, skirts, 6 cent skirts. You're ready to go for summer.
And we talked about I always want to say the cityscapes, but it is the Edgewater.
Yeah, which you can't make in a woven.
No, but we just to
Yeah,
note that we
we
showed
did
that.
talk about it. That's right.
Although you
well, the
could
willow.
use
Well, now the willow in one of these.
Willow, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, the
that would be
willow
nice,
very
wouldn't it?
good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Any questions?
So someone was questioning whether these were sheer.
Not especially. When I put my hand behind this, I could sort of see my hand, but it wouldn't prevent me from using a single layer as a blouse.
What about pants? Would you use any of these?
Well, I definitely would use these for pants. I think probably these for pants. I think these are a little not, they don't have, of course, you're wearing pants that don't have drape to them, so I don't know why I'm saying you can't wear
This
pants.
is a bit heavier. These are
A little bit
this
lightweight.
is pretty light. Probably the linen ones.
Yeah,
Like
the
you
linen
use
ones
as
for
pants.
sure. And maybe the cotton ones, maybe for tops.
I think I'll take some close-ups.
Sure.
Get a little closer and you can see the details.
Yeah, what you don't see here at first glance is these fine little lines that just add that extra touch. This one has little black lines which you can't really see too well.
Great.
It'd be interesting to see the fabric dyeing process to just even get the little metallic parts in there, the metallic dots here.
Right.
So there's something that's done on top of the fabric once it's made.
And then to reverse it and not have any color in the dots at all.
How do you think these are printed? Digitally or?
Well, I know that they actually she just paints. So then they take her paintings. So
Do you think they print them digitally? Possibly, probably. Most fabrics.
looks like some of them are.
I know.
Then
I don't know.
Some of them do look
I don't know. I would say some of these are, I don't know about something like that. I'm not too familiar with the digital printing process. But this, you have to look at this to see the strié texture to it.
You can see that a little bit.
Okay. And then this is the one that has, well, this one and this one have just ever so slight, just iridescent overprints. But that's tiny, tiny little detail. I think that's what we're talking about with the kind of printing that has to go on with her process.
Now, Alex, you talked about washing your fabric. Did you dry it as well?
Yes.
Yes, for my fabric, I washed and dried.
So this is a fabric that would have been white, and the brown is actually printed, because you're seeing the white come through.
Can you guys repeat what you're wearing?
I'm wearing the ET with the 6 cent skirt.
And I'm wearing the Gardenia blouse with the Valencia pants.
And are they, do you think, are these all 45 wide?
Yes, they are 45 wide. Now, when I had the bolts out, I mean, every once in a while one is like this much wider, but essentially they're 45 inches. So you have to be aware of that when you're ordering. You'll need a little bit more.
Do you think, Alex, that they would need a little more? Like, how much more would they need to lengthen into a tunic?
I would get an extra half a yard, because you lengthen it 6 inches times 2.
Okay, would you recommend using any specific needles or feet for the sticky fabric?
No, you use a universal needle, size 70.
And I will use the foot that had the even feed feature.
Right.
So potentially a walking foot would help if you have one,
Right.
but not necessary. But
Cotton thread. You could go to the lightweight 2-ply cotton thread if you wanted to. We didn't, but you could.
Somebody asked, you were talking about basting, the neck binding. Could you use fusee web in place of basting?
The question is, can you use fusee web instead of hand baste the binding? That would be very fussy. You would have that basted 5 times before you got that fusee web to do its job. I wouldn't bother.
And the binding
That must be from a person who does not like to hand baste, like you.
it's probably me. I went on there to ask that question.
Yeah.
So the binding process, is that in a tutorial?
Yes.
So the Gardenia blouse and dress tutorial is an online workshop.
Right.
And do you
I talk about that.
talk about that neck binding process in that workshop?
Yes.
So it is, you do a good job in the pattern to kind of, all the steps that she's mentioned are in the pattern to hand press and then to hand baste. So it's written out, but that's the great thing about these workshops, is to be able to kind of visually walk through a process with Linda. So that is in the Gardenia Blouse online workshop.
What pattern is the peach paisley shirt?
That's the Zen. So this is the starting point for this dress. And that's part of the Now and Zen pattern.
And what is the name of the white fabric with ducks?
This one is cotton gauze, mist gray, mint, and white. Cotton metallic gold on eggshell.
Linda, can you talk about the details of your skirt a little bit? They wanted to know what the opening looks like.
Well, the under rectangle is, a pretty full coverage. And so this rectangle comes over it, and then all of it's sewn together with this pocket. This is a band. This was, we had Sarah Campbell here, who's a textile designer from London, 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago. And this was my practice strip of using some brush strokes in black paint on white linen. So this was my practice strip. I kept the strip for whatever reason, and then I just cut a narrow strip and added this to the front. It's not wider, it's the same width as the original rectangle, so I cut away this part and added the band. And then it has the flat waistband, just like Alex's, Valencia's, and elastic around the back. But the difference is your elastic is 1 inch wide and mine is 1.5 inches.
I have a couple questions about the Willow Blouse.
Okay.
So the Willow kit, does it include the pattern since it's a brand new pattern and no one has it already?
No, the kits are just kits only, and the pattern is separate. We do that always. So you can buy the pattern separately, the kit separately, both. But none of our kits at all ever include the pattern.
I'm left-handed. I feel more balanced if the vent on the Willow Blouse would be on my left. Any suggestions on how to reverse the pattern?
Just cut it upside down or cut it reversed.
And then
flip it over.
So I can see it.
So repeating the question, if you wanted to put the vent on the other side of the garment, you just reverse the pattern.
Instead of right side up, it'd be wrong side up.
It'd be kind of fun to have a vent on both sides if you
You
wanted.
could.
So I love a good side vent.
I didn't know that about you.
There was I think Erin and I, there was a time when we were all, I don't know, I was all about those long tunic knit shirts that had vents. And then even with the zipper in it, it was very cool to have a zipper as a vent. So.
If I normally do a full bust adjustment, do I need one on the Willow Blouse, or will the draped front take care of this?
No, you would have to do it on this blouse. I mean, you don't want the drape to be the fullness. The drape is a drape, and you don't want to count on that for your bust fullness. So you'd want to do a full bust adjustment.
What's your favorite part of this blouse?
You know, I love the drape. It's all about the drape. This is the detail of this blouse that I think is the prettiest. This is a simple collar to put on. In the video, I do talk about how to shape a collar, how to form it so that it has a nice roll to it. There's a lot of learning techniques on this particular blouse, actually. It does have a loop using that same tool that you used for your ties. Shaping the collar, making this vent, and ending this nicely here is always tricky and interesting. Setting in a sleeve, of course, is always something that everybody can review.
And this double folded hem that you mentioned even in the gardenia.
Right, same hem as in the gardenia, that's right. We've made this in prints. We've made it in linen, and then this is a very soft, I'm into soft these days, and this is a beautiful, this has been washed, so it has an even softer sateen finish to it, but the whole thing is just super soft, very nice.
And it would be fun lengthened. You thought about making it a dress?
Yeah, I think it'd make a great dress. And it's also possible to maybe make a little tie, you know, and cinch it in a little bit if you want that look. It looks good with a little narrow tie.
You could use the bodkin tool.
Use the bodkin. That's right.
What are the long sleeves like? How are they finished in the Willow Blouse?
They're finished. The long sleeves are finished the same as this. It just tapers to wrist length and the same kind of hem.
Back to the full bust adjustment, would you suggest doing the detail with a dart or a dartless full bust adjustment?
I'm always for dartless if you can do that.
And then somebody asked if we could try on the new blouse. And I wonder
Probably
if we
not.
could do that next week.
Yeah, we can do that next week.
We could.
I'm not willing to strip today.
I tried, I don't know, I forget what size this is, but I think I will make a large.
This
That's a medium.
this is a medium. We've made a small, medium, and a large in the samples. And yeah, I can wear a small, I can wear a medium. I can probably wear a large. I can't wear an extra small.
Yeah, next week, let's do that.
Okay.
What does the shirt look like hem straight across?
I think it would look just fine. The back is straight across, so it would just be the same. Straighten it out if you don't care for that.
I guess it's actually not
We haven't done
making
it, but,
dress,
yeah.
too.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's all the questions I see.
All right. Well, all right. So we have all the fabrics on sale this week.
All Nani Iro or Naomi Ito
Right.
fabrics.
We have the Gardenia, which is digital and print pattern.
And the dress comes with the blouse, so
Right.
it's one
Blouse and
pattern
dress.
for both.
We have the Zen, now in Zen pattern, which is print only. And we have the 6 cent skirt, which is print only. And we have the tutorial on loops and tubes. How to do these is a tutorial, a PDF tutorial, and that's on sale too.
I have two more questions that
Okay.
just popped up. Would the shirt look good with the collar unbuttoned?
No.
We've tried
Did I
this.
say that emphatically enough? No, I mean, it would be, in my opinion, it would depend on the fabric perhaps a little bit. Maybe if you left this buttonhole out of here, maybe, but I think it loses some of its character, but that's what it looks like, unbuttoned.
Could maybe make this sleeveless too.
You could make
for-
it sleeveless
And
and probably raise the arm hole, yeah. You do have to be careful about that when you're removing a sleeve.
We'd have to trace maybe the mix of tank or something.
Yeah.
don't forget about this pattern though. This isn't on sale, but the Willow Blouse is,
Yeah, and the workshop,
yes.
and the kit.
Yeah. So $18 for the digital pattern, $49.99 for the online workshop,
Yep.
and the kit with the fabric and thread and the bodkin, right? No, not the bodkin.
Buttons,
The
the
buttons.
2 buttons.
Yes.
Same
bodkin
bead, yeah.
buttons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is $83.
Yeah. Well, Alex, thanks for coming to Kansas again.
Sure.
It's always a pleasure. And you'll be gone next week, but I'll be back. So we will see you.